got into college, dropped out of college twice, um, volunteered at a consulting firm, grew to be the management consultant at about 5 years, left that consulting firm based on divine instruction, then started my own consulting firm, been running it for 12 years now, moved to the States 6 months ago, just established our business operations here in Dallas, Texas. I've got tons of clients, particularly in Africa, the Middle East, Asia, Canada, the United Kingdom, now expanding to the United States.
Welcome to the Gentleman's Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast, where we bring to you the most successful, happy, fulfilled gentlemen from around the world who have been able to conquer themselves, their life, their marriage, and their businesses. You will be learning from four-dimensional gentlemen who have cracked the code to the science of having it all. The question is, how can married entrepreneurs with kids become gentlemen, achieve true freedom, and build a successful, happy, and fulfilled life, marriage, and business? This show will give you the answer for that. My name is Alex Ramirez, and I'm your host, and you're welcome to the Gentleman's Success, Happiness, Fulfillment Talk podcast. Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of the Gentleman's Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast. As always, I have an incredible guest with me today that I'm very excited to get to talk to, learn from, and connect with. And before I introduce this gentleman to you, though, I just want to ask everyone for a favor. I want to ask you that if you get something out of this interview, if you get some type of value, like a new insight, a new skill, information, or the inspiration to keep on moving forward towards your goals, I want to ask you to please share this episode with 10 people. Share it on Facebook, share it on your Instagram, share it on your stories, send the link to your mom or to your dad or to your friend. Share it with 10 friends, since this is how we grow. This is how we're able to share our message and motivate, inspire, and bless other men and women out there to change their lives, to keep on growing, and to tap into their God-given potential. And today, I have Steve Harris. He's fondly called Mr. Ruthless Execution. You probably know why now, right? Because he ruthlessly executes, and he's privileged to be a trusted authority in the field of life and business strategy. He's a highly sought after management consultant, business accelerator, and author, and is the CEO of Edge Execution. He's also regarded as one of Africa's leading business coaches. He has a podcast as well called The Ugly Truth About Business, which has been ranked among the top 5 in entrepreneurship in Africa and on Apple Podcast, and has been downloaded about 1 million times. And his online courses have been taken by over 5,000 people, and his weekly emails reach over 31,000 subscribers. And in short, this guy probably knows what he's talking about when he comes, to life and business. I'm excited to get to talk to him and get some insights for me as well as everyone listening. And Steve, thank you very much for being here, bro. I appreciate that, and you are welcome, man.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks for having me. Totally stoked to be here. Let's ride. Let's rock and roll.
Awesome, man. And I'm very grateful for you to be here, man. I couldn't be doing anything better on a Saturday morning. So
I know.
Thanks, man. Thanks for being here as well. Thank you for putting in the time. And what I tell my guests to do, what I get them to do when the first thing that I get them to do is I tell them to walk us through their entrepreneur journey in 75 seconds or less.
Ooh, here we go. 75 seconds or less. Let's see what happens. Got into college, dropped out of college twice, volunteered at a consulting firm, grew to be the management consultant at about 5 years, left that consulting firm based on divine instruction, then started my own consulting firm, been running it for 12 years now, moved to the States 6 months ago, just established our business operations here in Dallas, Texas. I've got tons of clients, particularly in Africa, the Middle East, Asia, Canada, the United Kingdom, now expanding to the United States. Written 3 books. I'm really passionate about helping people get things done. I'm really passionate about helping people market better, sell better, so that they can have the life and business that they want. So I hope I hope I did that in 75 or less.
You crushed it, bro. You crushed it. So, man, it sounds like you're a big thinker. Like you're helping people all around the world. And like that to me, that's like big thinking, right? Like I don't come across people that are able to do that every single day. And that's very inspiring because my first language is Spanish. So if
Right.
you think, my English is well or decent, my Spanish is
It's pretty
better,
good.
right? And like very soon, I'm going to be taking over Mexico, man. So like
Awesome.
I'm very excited for that. And you're working, with people in like, in the other part of the world, like Asia, the United States, Africa, and even
Right.
Mexico now. So that's awesome. Like that is inspiring to me. So tell me, like, how have you been able to do that, man?
Well, the world is such a big place now, and being able to make a difference is so important to me. I've been doing this, so to speak, for going almost 2 decades now. I mean, I'm 43. I know I don't look it. I look way better than that, but
You look
that's
young, man. You look like
thank you.
33 at most, bro.
Thank you.
Honestly, like
I
damn.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Why is
Thank
that?
you.
Why
Thank
is
you.
that? Is it because you work out, or like what's the secret?
Well, I mean, I try to work out, but my wife's cooking. It's a tough job. You know what I mean? But working out, just living well, being at peace, being grateful. Living with gratitude every day. I'm thankful that I still have breath in my lungs. My family's beautiful. God is good. So yeah, so it just drives me to be more and share some of the wisdom that God has put in my heart, and just help as many people as possible. Either in their entrepreneurship journey, or in their lives, in their relationships. You know what I mean? Just help people maximize themselves and just become better. Become better versions of themselves. I know it seems to be cliche, to say they help people live their best lives, but truly that's what we do.
Yeah.
Just help people find the best version of themselves and relentlessly, ruthlessly drive themselves until they get there, so that they can have a totally fulfilled life. So yeah, that's really what I'm all about.
Awesome. And so that is the key to like eternal young or eternal
Eternal
how do you
youth. I'm telling you,
yeah.
gratitude. I mean,
Peace,
when
gratitude, giving. Awesome, man.
absolutely, nothing's better than that. When you look back and think how far you've come, um, you're always going to find something to be grateful for. You may not have all the things you want or need at the moment, but when you look back, you've really covered some ground. And every day, if you just think about that, what are you grateful for? You tend to be at peace with the world. You don't go too hard on yourself. You don't criticize yourself, because you could always have it worse. I tell people that life is it's like a marathon. There are always going to be people in front of you. There are going to be people running at your pace, and there are going to be people running behind you. All you got to do is just focus on your race. You're not focusing on, getting in front of the person in front of you. You're not focused on making sure the person behind you doesn't catch up to you. You're focused on finishing your race at your speed in your time. And I think that's really what it's about. Focus on finishing your race at your speed in your time.
Awesome, brother. So I just want to make sure to not breeze over this, right? And I want to tell you what I got, out of what you just said. And
Sure.
for me, for you, and for the audience. So the key to like successful, happy, and fulfilled life, the key to eternal youth is peace, gratitude, giving, growth, contribution, contempt without complacency, trusting the process, progress, and then like if you like take all of those words and like you put them in the blender and like you blend them, I believe all of that would come down to love.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
So all right, so I'm glad that I asked about your age then, man. And so now you told us a little bit about what you really do in the world. How have you been able to like work with so many people across the world, right? Let's go back to that.
Well, I mean, what can I say? I'm really good at what I do. And I know that for some people, most people aren't very content or very happy with tooting their own horn. But I believe if you're really good at something, you should tell the world about it. You don't need to, dumb down your accomplishments. I'm really, really good at what I do. I've worked with, in my day, so to speak, in my day to day, I've worked with corporations, Fortune 500 companies. I just help them, become more profitable, help them become more meaningful, help them transform their people. And so, taking that knowledge and skill, I started doing it for smaller businesses. I started doing it for entrepreneurs on their journey. I have a program that we call the Goliath program, the Goliath Mastermind. And the whole essence of it is, we need to be able to help businesses become giants. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sure, it's great to have a small business. Sure, it's great to, be, the underdog. But once in a while, it's also great for you to have something that, is big enough that people can take shots at. Because you just cover enough ground and your vision is big enough to accommodate so many people. So just having those kind of results tends to make me a little bit more attractive to, clients around the world, because I do have that global worldview. I'm Nigerian. I've lived in Nigeria for most of my life. I'm originally from Nigeria. I've worked across Africa. I've worked with clients across the Middle East and Asia. I've worked with clients across the United Kingdom, the United States. So, I do know something about, allow me to say something about everything. I know a little bit about here, there, and everywhere. And the problems are the same. Every human being, every entrepreneur wants to grow. They want to make a contribution. They want to be able to provide for their homes. They want to be able to have that peace and love that comes with the fulfillment of doing what they do. And, thankfully, with my experience as a life coach, because I'm a certified life coach, I've been a life coach for the last maybe 12 years. But beyond that, my consulting and business coaching experience really does allow me to help other people grow. So I'm really stoked about that. Yeah.
Awesome. So I like, the Goliath Mastermind, taking small business to big businesses. And I think it's a disservice, right? Like if you have something that you're really good at. So like my business is podcasting, bro. And not just podcasting, but helping, like coaches, course creators, authors, and speakers, like entrepreneurs that have a message to share, like an important message for them to share. Well, I have those type of people build $1 million network of, of people who can become their clients, who can put them in front of hundreds of their ideal clients, who can invite them to speak on stage. I've been invited to speak on 10 stages in the past couple of months. So that's crazy. Awesome. And, who can come to speak at their stage, collaborate, help them, promote their books, their speaking, right? Like a network. And we happen to use podcasting as a networking tool for that, and use our process called the Cloak Track, right? And that is what I do. But I didn't start this podcast out of like, for a business, right? Like I started this podcast because I told you I was 21?
I think you mentioned it. Made me kind of feel a little bad about my age, but it's cool.
Yeah, no worries. Well, no, man, you I hope to look as good as you do when I'm 40, man. When I'm
I'm sure you'll look better. Trust me.
Well, I'm working for it, man. So yeah, I'm definitely working. I'm taking care of myself. So yeah. I hope I do. Yeah, I selfishly hope I do. So man, I started my podcast because I was failing, right? Like 20-year-old pitching 30, 35, 40, 45-year-olds on how to grow their business without sacrificing time, health, and relationships. It wasn't working, right? But I'm so committed to my purpose. Like I was like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, right. And I was like, boom, idea. Well, I should start a podcast interviewing men who are who I want to be, who are doing the types of things that I want to do, right? That way I'll learn from them. And then in the process, I'll be able to fulfill my purpose and help anyone who listens to my podcast. I started my podcast out of self-love, right? So it turned out to be something amazing because I did it for me. But now, like, it would be a disservice to not want to take this, to not want to like share it, not want to take it to 7, 8, or even 9 figures. Right. But a lot of people don't, I don't think that it's not that they want that. They've just been like, taught, trained, and educated to not to think small, right? To not think bigger. And so Goliath Mastermind, right? It takes small businesses to like be big businesses, which is really awesome, right? Like you help people, impact more people.
Absolutely.
So that's like the ripple effect of that is damn, like it's like it never ends.
True.
So tell me a little bit about how you do that, bro.
Well, the Goliath mastermind that we have is, just like you said, it's helping small businesses become bigger. And like you said, a lot of entrepreneurs have been educated to think small, to play small, to be small, and inevitably live small. And there's only so much footprint that you can make in, impacting other people, depending on the size of your vision. You know what I mean? If you have a small vision, for example, and you live in a studio apartment, that's fine. You can only accommodate certain people in your studio apartment, for example, right? If your vision or your mindset was hypothetically a skyscraper, then all of a sudden you've got greater capacity. And I think usually the biggest issue that stops entrepreneurs from scaling or individuals from living a blessed life is capacity. We don't really have capacity, and capacity has to grow. You know what I mean? So give you an example that might be, a lot more, maybe Africans can relate to this, but, Americans perhaps might not, in Africa, we have generators, and our generators tend to power, our devices, particularly if we don't have electricity. Right. I know over here in the States, most people don't use generators. You have backup power and stuff. But in Africa, because we have epileptic power supply, almost every home has a generator. Now, where I'm from, back home in Nigeria, the average, small business probably has 2 generators, right? They've got a small one, which just basically just does the basics, just powers the fan, just powers a fridge and just keeps it simple, right? Now, I always use this metaphor that no matter how passionate that generator is, it has the capacity to power only a fan and maybe a fridge. Yeah. It's motivated, it's inspired, it looks like a bigger generator that could effortlessly power, a complex. It looks the same. But the only difference is that it doesn't have the right capacitor. So you and I may look the same, and you may be envying my business success, for example, and you're saying, why Steve got it going on? I mean, we're both in the same line of work. We both run podcasts, we're both coaches, but why does he have, seemingly have better results than I do? I talk better than him. I'm better educated, this, that, and the other. The truth might be, it's not in the externals. The difference might be in the capacity that both of us have. Now, if that little generator, the little generator that thought it could, decided to go right there and say, you know what, heck it, I believe I'm made for more, and it tries to power an office complex, it's going to blow up. Why? Because the capacitor doesn't have the capacity to carry that complex. Now, in the Goliath program, what we do is we first increase your capacity. We start looking by, because you have to, you can't give what you don't have, Alex. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's all about, from working on the inside to the outside. And so we have to start breaking, identifying limiting beliefs. We start, breaking those limiting beliefs. We start, examining the fears. We start looking at self-sabotaging behaviors. And for a while, we just focus on the individual, because the decisions the individual makes will ultimately affect the business. So you can't grow if you don't think you need to grow. You can't grow unless, if it's not inside of you, you're not going to show it on the outside. So we deal with a heck of a lot of just mental blocks first. Then we start looking at your business. Then we start looking at your vision. In some cases, we even scale your vision and make it even a little bit bigger, right? And we find that many times most people's organizational vision comes from a place of scarcity. Many people aren't willing to take their businesses forward because they're afraid of loss. They're afraid of risk. There's a scarcity mentality there. And then we start looking at all the hard and softer things like, human resources, distribution, operations, all those sorts of things that can scale their business. It's pretty intensive, to be honest, but it's something that our clients love, and we're always super stoked to help them with. So,
bro, that sounds awesome, man. And the analogy that you used with the generator, boom, right. that landed with me. It was a great analogy. So that was great. Like, I believe, if I understood it, probably, people in the audience will understand that as well.
Works for me. Yeah.
So, like, expanding your capacity to like think on things, your capacity for experiencing love, your capacity for experiencing abundance, success, happiness, fulfillment, right? Because most people, like, their capacity is like limited. Like they're limiting their capacity to receive those things right?
Right.
And like Tony Robbins uses the analogy of a thermostat, right? Like
Hmm.
you have a thermostat and you have it set at a certain point, and that's the only, that's your
Yeah.
capacity for love. That's your capacity
Right.
for how much money you make. That's your capacity for how much abundance you experience. And every time you get close to it, you find yourself self-sabotaging, or you find
Hmm.
yourself doing something that takes you back to your comfort zone, right?
Right.
So, helping people increasing their capacity and shattering those like
Yeah,
those upper
it's just
ceilings.
it's just for pardon me for interrupting. Just even thinking about it, it's also just like working out. You see those barbells, 100 kilograms, 200 kilograms. Somebody walks into the gym for the first time and he sees a bunch of guys, sees Alex lifting weights, and he looks like and says, "No, I can. You got guns, brother. You got guns." You know what
Thanks,
I mean?
man.
He sees you lifting those weights, and he's like, I can do that too. And he goes there and he picks up those bars, and he realizes he can't lift them. Why can't he lift them? He's got human form. He looks like you. He's a man. He's got muscles, but he can't lift them. Why? Because he doesn't have the capacity to do that. So we have to take him through those micro movements that seem dumb and repetitive. But if he does them consistently, he starts to have guns just like Alex. So it's
Yeah,
a capacity issue, man. Yeah.
bro. And then I just loved how you explained it, right? So way that I explain it, right? Like what the modern gentleman is. And I want to talk about vision, man. Honestly,
Yeah.
like selfishly, and also because that will really help, like anyone listening.
Mhm.
Right? Because like I think like you nailed the order, right? Like it's not about the business, like people come into your mastermind and they want to work on the business, right? Because they think they have business problems, but they don't. They,
Right.
they probably have personal problems reflecting in their business. So they come in,
Absolutely.
they want to work on their business, but you don't focus on their business. You first focus on the businessman, right?
Right.
Getting him to become what I would call a modern gentleman. I don't know. You probably would
Right.
call him a ruthless executor, or I don't know, right?
Pretty
So,
much. Pretty much.
right. So you focus on helping him become that by getting rid of or reframing limiting beliefs, fear, self-sabotage. Then once he's ready, once he has a strong foundation of being of being that businessman, then you give him the tools, the HR operations, everything that he will need to like grow and scale and
Right.
become a big business. So I love that.
Hmm.
So let's see. So how does you know focusing on the businessman look like? So you already told us what it looks like, right? Limiting beliefs and all that. But what is like what have you seen are the main problems for people, when they come in and they want to focus on the business, but you're like, no, 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 let's focus on the businessman, right? So what have you
Right.
seen like the most common like issues that they have that is keeping them like at a certain capacity?
That's a great question. Usually it stems from exposure. It stems from exposure. Every limiting belief you have, Alex, stems from some sort of something you've been exposed to, right? But you're on autopilot. You're on cruise control. You don't know why you're operating that way, but you're in cruise control. So first off, one of the things we recognize is what are they exposed to? What are they exposing their minds to? Another thing might be what's driving them. You know what I mean? And ambition is great. Vision is great. You know what I mean? You've got to be able to tap into their own, selfish desires about why they want to succeed. Not everyone wants to, have unicorns and rainbows. Some people just want to be the baddest bitch on the block, and it's fine. That's what they want. That's what they want. You know what I mean? But being able to show them what they stand to lose, right? If they don't come into that place where they can be more, they can do more, they can have more. Because I think that most times we go through the motions of work and business without really thinking about the consequences of not performing, the consequences of not showing up. If you are a crappy parent, your kids are going to self-destruct. You know what I mean? If you don't focus on your relationships or marriage, it's going to crash and burn. You know what I mean? So what's the consequence of not showing up in your business? Because I think a lot of people just play by ear. They have an idea, they have a passion, they just jump into the murky waters of entrepreneurship, start swimming, and all of a sudden they don't have the capacity, Alex, and then they start drowning. You know what I mean? And then they lose so much because now, whatever business they have, whether it's a mom and pop shop, whether it's an online coaching business that they have VRs, that VAs working with them, the moment their business crashes and burns, it's not just them that's affected. It's everyone who tied in or believed in their vision or went to work for them to just get a job. Those people are going to be affected, right? So the consequences of you not growing. I mean, I'm a parent. My daughter's 11, and I love my daughter very much, and she will always be a child to me, and she'll always be my child, and she'll always be a kid in my eyes. But I want her to grow up. I don't want her to be 30 years old living on my couch. I don't want that. You know what I mean? I want her to grow up. So if your business is staying at the same level, if your business is not growing, if your business is a 30-year-old with the body of a 2-year-old, then you're doing something wrong. You're not scaling. You're not growing. You know what I mean? You need to be able to grow. I don't know how tall you are, right? I'm 5'11", right? I would love. There you go. So you're 6 foot. You're 6 feet. I'm 5'11". You know what I mean? That's growth. Do you get what I'm saying? Now, unfortunately, if you're not careful, there's a particular stage you get to in your business, Alex. You can't grow. So I'm 43. I can't grow naturally beyond my 5'11" frame, unless of course I get implants and that shunts and things like that, right? But my point is, you've got to be able to put in the work. You've got to be able to look at the things that are stopping or shunting your growth. And unfortunately, that's a lot of the things that's one of the things that most entrepreneurs are not looking at. So we have a 10-year-old business that looks like a 2-year-old in business. It's not growing. You know what I mean? And so we try to fix that.
Awesome. All right. Yeah. And I love that analogy, by the way. I'm actually going to use it right now to ask you another question. So that's a great question. What are the consequences of me not showing up the way that I could in my business? What are the consequences of me not showing up the way that I could with my marriage, with my kids, with my, with my body, with my health, right? Mm-hmm. And that's great, man. And like asking those questions, and then you get answers, and then you'll realize that it's not about you, right?
Right. Cool. Absolutely. Awesome. All those answers just tie into, what we call your compelling reason. You're doing this for love, or like you said, before we started the show, your compelling reason is God. You're doing this because you want to epitomize everything that God has done for you. So everyone who is going through whatever they're going through, by the time we find the consequences of you not showing up, all that comes down to a compelling reason. You know what I mean? I left Nigeria where I had a very good life. I was in the top 10% of people in my country. And it's an amazing country. And, you should visit, Alex, one of these days. It's an amazing country. But I wanted to be able to give my daughter a quality of life that my parents were able to give me that, unfortunately, my country could no longer offer, right? And that became my compelling reason. So I had to up and leave and move everything, literally just start the American dream, the whole immigrant story, so that my family could have a better, much better life. That's my compelling reason. That's why I could leave my parents, my family, my country, the people I love, and up and leave, because, my family is my compelling reason. I want to be able to give them a much better quality of life that I got. So everyone has a compelling reason, and those compelling reasons will cause you to make sacrifices, not for yourself, but for the people who are attached to your vision. And I think that's somewhere a lot of entrepreneurs need to get to.
Hey, sorry for the interruption. Real quick, do you want to know how I've been using my podcast to build a multi-million-dollar network with over 100 7, 8, and 9-figure entrepreneurs, reach hundreds of my ideal clients with my message, coaching, service, and podcast, get invited to speak on 4 stages in the last 2 months alone, throw my own events, and have over 100 successful entrepreneurs being willing to speak at my events, become a millionaire in 1 year, get mentored by multimillionaires, and achieve goals that I thought were going to take me 10 years to achieve in 1 year, and ultimately get unstuck and make quantum leaps of progress in my business and life with less than 1 hour of work just by being myself. If you answered yes to any of those, I just want to invite you to a free training showing you how I've been able to build a multi-million-dollar network that is helping me achieve bigger income goals faster with only 1 hour of speaking and just being myself. To be honest, I thought I was going to be a multi-millionaire, speak on stages, throw my own events, and live a successful, happy, and fulfilled life of growth and impact in 10 years from now. that seemed so far away, but my podcast has been able to help me do that in less than 6 months. I'm actually doing all of that this year at the age of 21 with my podcast. I'm reaching thousands of people with my message, my service, my podcast, my coaching. I've gotten booked to speak on 4 stages in the last 2 months. And on these stages, I'm going to be getting in front of hundreds of my ideal clients, making roughly around 15 to 30K plus per event. Not only that, I have a network of over 100 high-level, multi-million-dollar entrepreneurs who have all agreed to speak at my event. Getting clients is a problem of the past. I've gotten the opportunities to learn from billionaires, and I'm collapsing decades of time, and I'm literally achieving what I thought was going to take me 10 years to achieve in 1 year. All of this because I use podcasting as a networking tool, and I leveraged a rare concept called the cloak track. And I want the exact same thing for you. Just imagine where you could be in 1 year from now if you get this free training right now. That is why I'm inviting you to this training. On this short training, you're going to learn how a small group of purpose-driven entrepreneurs, authors, coaches, course creators, and speakers have combined podcasting with this rare concept called the cloak track to build a multi-million-dollar network, reach thousands of their ideal clients with their message, books, courses, coaching, make an extra $118,800, get booked on 10 stages, and build a successful network of entrepreneurs who speak on their stage. All of this in under 6 months. I'm going to walk you through the 4 steps to make this work. Step number 1, alignment. Getting clear on who you want to be, what you want to do, your goals, your purpose, and aligning all of this with building your podcast and your ideal podcast guest. Step number 2, leveraging the cloak track to find your ideal podcast guest and never running out of them. Step number 3, leveraging the cloak track to close an interview with anyone, no matter how rich, famous, or out of your league they may seem. And step number 4, the content machine. The content machine is the key to tapping into other people's audiences. And I'm going to show you all of those 4 steps. The link to access this free training is in the description of this video. Click on it and go watch this training right now so that you can learn how you can too build a multi-million-dollar network that helps you achieve bigger goals faster and with less effort. Note, this training is only available to 18 people, so act right now, and I hope you enjoy the rest of this episode. Bye-bye. Cool. Yeah. So your desire, right? Like that like end result that you're working for, is like much more powerful than the fear you probably had.
Absolutely.
Of moving, right?
Absolutely.
And I just wanted to like make sure that I mentioned that because, so that the audience gets it, right? And then another thing, like if you have trouble, right? Like being motivated or inspired, it's because you're probably too stuck in your own head, right? Don't make it about you. Make it about other people.
You're selfish, period. You're selfish. And I mean that from putting yourself first. You're putting yourself first. You're thinking, what will I do? How will it affect me? What's in it for me?
Exactly. There you go. Because I do put myself first every single day. Right?
Absolutely.
But there's a difference between because I don't know how to explain it, man. But because I do put myself first every single day. Yeah. But that's because if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to serve other people.
True. So we got to have a strong, compelling reason. Absolutely.
Awesome. And so that strong, compelling reason, right? You mentioned how mine is like God, that I'm driven by God. And, I mentioned how even if I chose not to do this, there would be something pulling me. Right. And I just realized, man, why there's so much distress, anxiety, drug addiction, health issues, because there's probably out there a lot of people, probably everyone, right, who have this this calling, this thing pulling them towards something, and they're just not listening because no one has ever taught them to that emotional freedom aspect to getting in tune with who they are, getting in tune with what they want and where they're going. And they're I'm telling you, man, if I even if I didn't want to do this and I decided to go something else, there would be something pulling me and I wouldn't be able to live. I would probably have to use drugs and alcohol and a bunch of things to ignore it.
Right. That's true.
So yeah. And so right now, right, talked about growth and how a lot of businesses are like a 2-year-old, like a 5-year-old, but it's a 35-year, something like that, right? So a lot of people are walking around in a 35-year-old body, but have the emotional intelligence of a 15-year-old,
Right.
right? So you're also, like you're also like not only business but life.
Life,
Let's talk about that.
absolutely. Oh yeah, life coaching just comprises, as far as I'm concerned, the seven dimensions of your life: your emotions, that's your relationship with your mind; your physicality, of course, with your body; your career, with your job; your society, with, of course, society; your finances; your faith. I think I've missed maybe one or two, whatever. So there's your emotionals, there's your relational, physical, spiritual, financial, career, and something else I can't remember. But basically, that's just what it is. How do you get to be in tune with all of these areas of your life, knowing that if one area of your life is out of sync, it kind of dovetails into the next and becomes this, domino effect where it's just pushing down dominoes and you're never really operating at full capacity. And again, that's that word. You're not operating at full capacity. It's like driving on the freeway, but one of your tires is flat. You're still moving, but you're not moving at full potential. You don't have the capacity to speed, and sooner or later that tire that is out of sync, that is out of whack, will slow you down and shut you down. And that's one of the things that we must be conscious of, looking at people, just almost, for the lack of a better term, psychoanalyzing them and recognizing, asking the question, what is slowing you down? What is that area of your life that is slowing you down, that if we fixed it, put some air in that tire, you would be optimized enough to move, move with speed. So yeah, so life coaching is incredibly important. I know that a lot of people are hearing about it now, and for some people they're like, I don't need no coach, I don't need nobody. But you do. Everyone who wants to operate at the highest level of performance has a coach. Venus and Serena have coaches. You know what I mean? Athletes have coaches. Business moguls have coaches. I mean, if you're spiritual, you got a pastor or an imam. Those are your spiritual coaches. Your parents have been your coaches. You know what I mean? And what your coaches do is they help you perform better. You know what I mean? If you go to the gym, you get a personal trainer. He's gonna ask you, what are your goals? Oh, I want to build some guns like Alex. I want to have six packs. I want to do this. Then he's going to start you. Okay, this is the program. And the coach's job is not to lift your weights. The coach doesn't lift your weights. He sets your routine. He sets your program. He keeps you accountable, doesn't allow you to quit, and gives you consequences for not going through your program. And that's what coaching is about. You know what I mean? And for me, my own particular blend of coaching is, I call it ruthless execution. And simply because I say, a lot of people, are, allow me to say this with as much respect as I can muster, a lot of people are emotionally timid, right? So they take coaches like their guide dogs. They think coaches are like their blankets, security blankets. No, if you want, a coach may not necessarily be your friend. If you want a friend, get a pet, get a dog. You know what I mean? If you want results, get a coach. Yeah. And eventually your coach might eventually end up being your friend. Your coach will start off as your enemy, then he becomes your frenemy. And then somewhere in the middle, maybe as you get results, you guys develop a friendship. So, it's not for the faint of heart. It's about those who are willing to say, I've done 20 years or 30 years at this particular level, and I'm tired of it. And I know that there's more, but I know I'm the one who's stopping me because I'm afraid. And I need someone who's going to kick my ass and just will not take no for an answer to get me the results that I want, so that I look good. When you're bench pressing, you hate the process. The coach is telling you to count, your trainer is telling you to keep it going, and you're pushing, and you feel like you're sore, you're afraid to go to the gym, you're eating stuff that you really don't want to. But guess what happens? You start looking in the mirror and you start liking the results. People start complimenting you. They're like, whoa, bro, do you lift? You know what I'm saying? Oh, you look good. You fill out a shirt. All of a sudden you start getting these compliments, and it starts making you feel good about yourself. So you may not like the process, but you're going to love the end result. But I think, unfortunately, Alex, a lot of people chicken out through the process. They don't want the process because the process is painful, and then they lose out on the end result. So yeah, that's what it's all about.
How can you get someone to like love a process?
Show them what's in it for them. Show them what's in it for them. So, I'll give you an example. Let's stick with the gym metaphor. I don't work out because I want to be healthy, Alex. That's the truth. I don't work out because I want to be healthy. I work out because my selfish desire, my narcissistic compelling reason is I want to be able to take my shirt off. You know what I mean? I want to be able to take my shirt off and guys are like, oh my God, dude, you look good. I want to be able to say this way. I want to be able to impress girls and oppress guys. You know what I mean? That's my selfish reason. So I will keep working out as long as I get that result. So in reality, you love the process by finding out, honing in on your client's deep, dark desire. So if you keep talking, if you're my trainer, you're telling me, oh, you're going to be fit. I don't care about being fit. Fitness for me is the end result. That's the why I'm going into the gym. I want to be able to take my shirt off. I want to be ripped. That's the reason I'm working out. So when you find what my selfish desire is, and you begin to hone in on that, all of a sudden, it's like you've struck gold, you've struck oil, and all of a sudden you just have this guy
going to the gym is not that bad. Yeah,
it's just not that bad because you know exactly why you're going there, and as long as you get the feedback and the outcome that you want, you just keep going there. So yeah, find your client's deepest, darkest selfish desire and hone in on that.
Clarity. So or get clear on your own, right? Like
absolutely,
like desire, right?
Exactly.
And then keep on remembering that. Keep on reminding.
This is why you're doing it. Yeah. This
why
is my compelling reason.
And it's cheesy. Yeah. It's cheesy, right? Like everyone talks about your why, but this is it. Like that's it. That's it.
That's what it is.
Cool. So man, you've dropped a lot of like wisdom and knowledge in the past couple of minutes already, and so you're 43, so you obviously have a like a story, right? Do you want to tell me that?
Yeah, sure. Okay. Just the executive summary of my story would be, I was born to middle class parents in Nigeria. My mother's an educator. She's a teacher. My father's into real estate. And from a very early age, they just infused in my siblings and I the love for knowledge and education. I was constantly reading. If went to high school, I was the guy who everyone thought was most likely to succeed until I got into college, and then I stopped succeeding, and I got into a lot of trouble because I wanted to blend in. I want to be one of the cool guys, and I just took a detour. And that detour led me towards a path of destruction, where inevitably I dropped out of school, not once, but twice. I always joke that if you drop out of school once, you're in a class by yourself. But when you drop out of school twice, then, I come from a culture of Nigerians, and I don't know if you've heard about us Nigerians. We love to study. We love to read. We are educated, and our parents instill in us from a very early age that you got to be successful. So you got to be a lawyer, a doctor, an accountant, an engineer. So every Nigerian parent is on their kid's case to do very well in school, and then you don't do well. You don't just drop out once; you drop out twice. And but dropping out, funny enough, Alex, was a wake-up call for me, because that led me on a path of self-discovery, where unfortunately I did make a few wrong turns here and there, but ultimately I found my path. I found a mentor, and mentorship is really, really important. I found a mentor who took a chance on me, and I started volunteering. Now, of course, if you work hard, you should get paid. But because I didn't have a college degree, you know what I mean? I decided, you know what? I can't compete with people based on, college degrees. If you have a first class or a 2-1, I didn't have none of that. So I decided, and I always say this, this is my mantra. It's not what you don't have that limits you. It's what you have, but you don't know how to use. I'm going to say that again for emphasis. It's not what you don't have that limits you. It's what you have, but you don't know how to use. And so I figured, I can't compete based on a college degree, but I can compete with work ethic. And I decided to be a volunteer. And I went to work for my mentor on the cheap, literally for free, so that I could learn the ropes. And I was the hardest working, not just volunteer, I was the hardest working employee there, and long story short, I made my bones, and I got the opportunity to just work in the organization. And in 5 years, I was literally the head of our consulting group. I was the biggest rainmaker in the organization. I was my mentor and boss's second in command. And this is a pretty big business. And I rose through the ranks so quickly in 5 years. And then eventually, when the time came, I met my wife, a beautiful woman. We have a daughter together. We've been married 13 years. And, we started a new journey together, started our business and started helping clients and just making a difference. And yeah, and here we are now. We moved to the States in December, so we've been here for about 6 months, 7 months now. And yeah, we're starting a new journey together. It's about love, it's about happiness, it's about peace. And yeah, so this is my journey. So written a couple of books here and there, mentoring, men and women as well. Not just not just in business, but also with their lives, relationships, and yeah. So for me, it's a big deal. I'm Christian. Say my prayers, eat my Weetabix and cornflakes. But yeah, so that's what it is for me.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So yeah, so you married, husband, father, entrepreneur. Awesome, man. Well, bro, we're almost at the end, at the of the podcast, and I have a few questions for you.
Hit me.
And the first one is, if you could give your 20-year-old self some advice, what would that be?
Dropping out of school will be the best thing that ever happened to you. But to anyone who's listening, don't be a fool, stay in school. But for my 20-year-old self, you're gonna go through a heck of a lot of challenges. You're gonna lose to some degree your confidence, but dropping out of school will make you the man that you're going to be, and your failure is going to inspire so many to succeed. So yeah, hang in there.
Awesome. I like that. Okay, cool. Awesome. The second question is mindset, right? So what is a mindset shift that you've had that you think is contributing to your success?
The mindset shift that I've had that contributes to my success. This is going to sound, for those who perhaps may not be people of faith, but I'm Christian, and one of the scriptures in the Bible that inspires me says, in him, in Jesus, dwells the fullness of the Godhead bodily. Now, what that simply means is God dwells in Jesus. And what that simply means for me is God lives in me. So I'm a God. God does not fail. God thrives. God succeeds. And if God succeeds, you bet I'm going to succeed. You know what I mean? So I walk with a consciousness that I am God. I walk with the consciousness that my words carry weight. Cool. I walk in the consciousness that, people will follow me because people follow God. That's a mindset shift that I have that works for me. So yeah. So
I've never read the Bible, man, and I didn't know what you just said, but I feel it. Like I already intuitively know what you're saying.
Yes.
But I never read the Bible. Like I also believe that I'm God, that God is within me, that me and him are one.
Yeah, absolutely. That's pretty much it.
Cool.
And God is love. And if God loves, then hey, I love. So it's the consciousness that I have. Yeah.
Awesome. So man, do you know who Grant Cardone is?
Of course.
So I've been trying to get him on my podcast, right? And I haven't been able to. But guess who I've been able to get?
Tell me.
His wife. Right?
That's amazing.
So, yeah. So
you're close. That's it.
Yeah. So on my Understanding a Modern Queen podcast. So right, like man, like I'm in shape. Emotionally, I think I'm I'm on track. Emotionally and spiritually, I'm on track. Financially, I've finally been able to make my business work. And my gift is thinking big, right? Like solving problems and coming up with solutions and leading. So I think I'm gonna do good, right? Financially, I'm already doing good, but I'm thinking I'm gonna do like great, better. Right?
Yeah.
But the hardest one of all of those freedoms is sentimental, right? That's another reason I started my podcast selfishly, and because I want to impact people. That's what I'm here. And I started interviewing women who are power couples with modern queens that are modern couple, power couples with modern men, with modern kings, and then just women that are crushing it. So if you could give a woman some advice for them to become this modern queen that we talked about, what would you say?
I would say that women perhaps are God's greatest gifts to the earth. Women are powerful. A woman has in her pinky finger the power to get any man to do whatever she wants. And I mean that not from a sexual perspective. I mean, my daughter as a little girl, can just literally get me to do anything. You know what I mean? So that you're born with power that men have to learn, but comes inside of you naturally. Men have to learn power plays and things, but women are born with the understanding. It's in your DNA. And my point is, you don't have to compete with men. You are great just by yourself.
Cool.
Men will compete to get your attention. Men will compete to make themselves fall over themselves for you. You are powerful. You are intelligent. You can go toe to toe. You own everything. So, more power to the women. So that's what I'd say.
Awesome. So now let's flip it. And what do you say to a man trying to become this modern king, this modern gentleman? What do you say to him?
I come from a culture where we have kings, right? We have kings in my culture. And one of the things that makes a great king is his ability to serve his people. It's not his ability to rule or lead, it's his ability to serve. Now, it's great to be a great leader. It's great to be the number one in the totem pole. But the greatest leaders come from having the understanding of service. When you look at people like Gandhi, he was a great servant, and that ultimately made him a fantastic leader. You look at Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, they served, and then they became leaders. Jesus puts it in a way that I love. He says, whoever wants to be the master of all must first become the servants of all. So to a man who wants to lead, you got to serve, bro. And that's what it's all about. Serve with your heart, serve with your mind. And inevitably, you're demonstrating the abilities and the competencies of a leader.
Bro, and I don't want to breeze over that, right? Because that is the key for business.
Absolutely.
I have a team of 15 people and I work for them, man.
Absolutely. Yes, you do.
I literally work for them, and that's what I do. So when I said I was a great leader, it's because I'm a great servant.
Absolutely.
All I do is build people, and I build my people, and I believe that's why they're helping me build my business.
That's what it's about.
Cool. Well, man, I've loved this conversation. Thank you very much, man. I really appreciate you. So if people want to know more about you, they just want to get in touch, they love the wisdom that you dropped, maybe, they want to be part of the Goliath mastermind, or they just want to learn more, right? Where would be the best place to find you?
You can go to my website. That's iamsteveharris.com. Or you can find me on Instagram. I'm really active on Instagram at iamsteveharris. I'm on Twitter also at iamsteveharris. I don't really do Facebook, so I'm not on Facebook. So it's Instagram, Twitter, my website, iamsteveharris.com. So holler at me, send me a DM. I'd love to carry the conversation forward.
Awesome, bro. So thank you very much, man. Have an awesome rest of your weekend, okay? Bye-bye.
Appreciate it, bro. Enjoy.
Thank you for watching the Gentleman's Success, Happiness, and Fulfillment Talk podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, share it with one friend, leave us a comment, and let us know. 99% of people never leave a review or comment, but we love and are very thankful with the 1% of you who do. If there's something or someone you want to see on this podcast, send me a message on Instagram at Alex_Ramirez1020 and let me know. As a thank you for that, I have an amazing surprise for each and every one of you who does take the time to leave us a comment or review on YouTube or one of the major podcasting platforms